Speaking at NATO headquarters in Brussels on November 29, Foreign Minister Antony Blinken praised the consequences of a break-in between Israel and Hamas. Brussels. Fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. It was held on Wednesday when the militant group continued release more hostages and urged some of Israel's closest friends to extend a halt to Tel Aviv's military attacks in Gaza. Choose your plan. ArrowRight Foreign Minister Antony Blinken said extension would allow the release of more hostages in Gaza, including Americans, and would allow more humanitarian aid to reach Palestinians. Following a meeting with NATO foreign ministers Brussels, where the conflict intervened in security talks Europe and Ukraine, he told reporters, "This is clearly what we want. I believe this is also something Israel wants," he added. He refrained from calling for a permanent ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Israeli officials said 16 hostages were released from Gaza on Wednesday. The first Israeli-Russian prisoners were 50-year-old Elena Trupanov and 73-year-old Irina Teti. Hamas said they were released at the request of the Russian government. Later, the defense forces said 10 Israeli and 4 Thai citizens were released and were found on soil. His father told The Washington Post that the Israeli American Liat Beinin was among those released. According to the Israeli prison service, 30 Palestinian prisoners were released a few hours later. A break-in to allow Israeli hostages to be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners and detainees began on Friday. It will end early Thursday. Officials involved in the ceasefire negotiations under Qatar's mediation said that this could be extended for at least a few more days, and a tense period for Gaza would continue. Israeli airstrikes, artillery and ground attacks for nearly 8 weeks. According to the Ministry of Health reported last week, are 13,300. It killed more than one person and displaced more than 1.7 million people. According to the United Nations, the conflict broke out on October 7 when Hamas and other militants left Gaza to attack nearby Israeli towns, killing 1,200 people and taking hundreds of them hostage. UN officials visiting North Gaza, the focal point of Israel's attacks this week, described Jabali refugee camp as a hellscape that has been deprived humanitarian aid for nearly 50 days. Binas have just broken. Thomas White, UN Agency Director for Palestinian Refugees in Gaza, said a pile of walls, twisted metal and hair were scattered everywhere. It was like a ghost town passing through Gazze City. All the streets were deserted. The impact of heavy airstrikes and bombardment was so apparent. The fact that the roads are full of craters makes it difficult to distribute help. More fuel needed to continue providing healthcare is expected to reach the region on Wednesday, he said. Abbas said al-Ahli and al-Sahabe maternity hospitals had been operating, with Kamal Adwan Hospital and al-Awda Hospital Pro.